I don't think the local media is doing enough. They're only focused on Formula One. There's no Malaysian driver right now in there, so who cares about Formula One? Why you even bother go and cover Formula One while all the other international media already cover Formula One? Hello motorsport people and hello everyone, my name is Zen, surname is Low, so my name is Zen Low. I was born in Kuching, Sarawak, and I currently live in KL, and I'm a race car driver. I started discovering racing a lot earlier, somewhere around 12, 13 years old, through bicycle BMX. Yeah, that was my first race experience ever. I got my BMX from my grandmother. It was a gift from my grandmother. So BMX was everything for me back then. And that's where I realized that I really love competitions, I love racing. But that time I don't know anything about cars or bike. The only racing I knew was bicycle. Where I'm from, it's a small town. Motorsport was something doesn't exist basically. We don't even know the terms of motorsports back then.
Hi everyone, I'm Robin van Persie, brand ambassador of BK8.
When go-kart was first introduced to me, I was around 18 years old. First ever go-kart experience was a disaster. Not knowing how to drive, not knowing how to steer, and I just went straight on without doing anything. I panicked basically, I freeze, end up crashing onto a tree. Just a minor damage, not a lot, but then I have scratches everywhere, so that was my first experience. That's how I started racing locally, yeah. When I decided to pursue my racing, I knew that if I stay on in Malaysia, I'm not going to go anywhere. I need to find an excuse to get out of the country, basically. And England was the country that I picked because there's so many racetracks over there. And besides, if I get to England, I can roam around everywhere in Europe. I told my dad I want to be an engineer, mechanic, you know. So he told me racing is not a career. Mechanic is also not a career, you know. So he gave me 4 choices: be a doctor, accountant, a lawyer. But in reality, in my heart, actually, I have different plan. I knew that racing is the only thing that I wanted to do. So off I went. I got to UK 1989. That's where I started to work very hard. I worked multiple jobs. I worked as a waiter in the Chinatown. I worked as a marshal at the track over the weekend whenever I can. After I saved up, there was enough money for me to enroll myself into Jim Russell. If you finish in top 3, you will get a partial sponsorship, which allowed you to race in the Formula Vauxhall Junior. So I was very lucky. I managed to finish in top 3. Then I was getting partial sponsorship from Jim Russell to do the Formula Vauxhall. After my graduations, I head home to Malaysia. Despite majoring in architecture, I never actually practiced because I have no interest whatsoever. I was very lucky. I met up with some old friends, and then he was saying to me, "Hey Zen, let's open up a garage," you know. I said, "I don't have money," you know. He said, "Don't worry, you know, I have all the money." So he decided to pump him all the capital, and my job is to help him to run the workshop. So that's how I started my first business with him. Running the garage, I also got myself into selling car, selling expensive car, exotic car. From there, I made quite a bit of money, and then came year 2000. That's when Sepang circuit was open. So as soon as I found out that Sepang was opened, I said it's time for me to pack my bag. It's time to move to Kuala Lumpur. So I moved to KL. With the money that I make, definitely not enough for me to go racing. So I called up a friend of mine in UK. He was a communication engineer. We could supply equipment, you know, special equipment to the Malaysian government. So I knew that I have few years to make sure that I save up enough with all the earning that I have, eventually buy my own race car to go and pursue my passion, you know. So we sold the company to a British company, so we cashed out basically. I was already 35, 36. So I told my wife, I said, now I'm ready to go racing. I have enough money. Here's the money for our children, money for the house, money for the school fee up to uni. Leave me alone. Let me go and live my life. I don't have to be a professional, I don't need to turn professional, it's too old for me to turn pro, it doesn't matter. I just want to go and live this life. This is what I want to do in this life. Did a little bit of research. The cheapest way to get in there is to buy a car that is built for track. So at that time, Lotus was the most affordable and it's track ready. You don't need to do a lot of things. You just need a fire extinguisher or roll cage, and off you go. The car is ready to race. You know, that's how I started off with Lotus. So I was the first guy that actually brought in the Lotus Exige together with Lotus Car Malaysia to set off the 1 mag race, and we ran it for 3 years, which was very successful. I started a company called Elizo. So Elizo is basically set up to manage the 1 mag race. We're selling car to motorsport enthusiasts so that they pay money to us, so we manage them and we make life easy for them. They just pay us a fee and then they turn up and race. So eventually, after 4 years, my life with Lotus, I've gained quite a lot of experience in racing. I learned quite a lot about the business. That's where I decided I want to go into a bigger car. The first people that responded to my letter was Lambo. So I started off with Lambo in the big GT car. I started off with sprint racing. Those are like 24 lap, you know, and then eventually I moved to endurance racing as well. I started off with that back then was called the MSS, Malaysia Super Series Championship. I did endurance racing, which is Merdeka endurance race, which is the 12 hours Merdeka endurance race. GT racing, back then it's called the GT Asia or the GT3 car. Then after 2 years of GT racing in the GT3, then we moved to Super Trofeo. Also entered into Asia Le Mans, which is the prototype racing, mostly all endurance racing, the LMP3. Then I moved to Ferrari Challenge, and then I did more endurance racing in Bathurst, in Macau, and finally I end up back with Lamborghini in Super Trofeo again. A lot of people always find it very glamorous, but they have no idea the preparations to become a race car driver. They really have no idea. You need to be physically fit and mentally fit. They said, why do you need to be fit? You have a machine behind you, you know? But I said, yeah, but you have no idea how difficult the environment inside a race car. The heat alone in the race car, it's enough to kill you. You have the G-force to deal with, you know. So the G-force is another thing that if you are physically not fit, that it's a struggle, because if you can't deal with your body, how can you deal with all the racing? Apart from the glamorous part, there's always risk in this sort of sports. Motorsport is dangerous. So over the years of racing, I do encounter quite a few accidents. The one that scared me the most was actually in year 2009. It was a 12 hours endurance race. My car caught fire. I was engulfed in flame, whole body, and all I can see was red flame all over through my visor, and it was very, very hot. My mind kept telling me I need to remove my glove because it's burning through my glove. But at the same time, my mind's telling me you must not remove your glove, because if you do, you'll be dead, you'll burn through your body. So I was running around in a lot of pain, and then at the same time panic. I heard somebody shouted at me, stop running. Try not to run when you are on fire, you know. I kept running, and then somebody kicked me from the back. So I fell down. As soon as I was on the ground, put me out with the fire extinguisher. So it was very quickly, it was over. And then I realized that it was not the day for me to die. This is a suit that I wore in 2009 where I was engulfed in flame.
So right? These are all like fire marks?
Yeah, these are all the burn marks. This is the part where it was burning. So I think it just, the heat was so intense that the color was
just fade off.
Yeah, just fade off, you know. And then this is the gloves, and you can still see the burn mark over there. Yeah. Or right portion is
far worse.
Yeah, far worse, because the fire started from the top. I was standing underneath the fuel rig, so when the fuel rig broke, the petrol poured from the back, from the top, all the way down towards the back. I also had a few nasty roar on my car, but those were not as scary as fire. That fire, after the incident, somehow it didn't scare me. And I decided that there's still a lot I can do. And from that point, I just continued to pursue. The most memorable, I would say, Ferrari Challenge. Up on the podium, I look around, I was the only Asian. That was a very proud moment for me to be on top. The second would be representing Malaysia to race in the Nation Cup. Only 18 countries were chosen by SRO to compete in this Nation Cup. So it's something that I'm very proud of, and we finished 8th overall in the world, so it's something to shout about. And lastly would be winning the MME 12 hours, also known as Sepang 12 hours. The current motorsport scene in Malaysia, I think the government has done enough. They gave us the infrastructures, Sepang F1 circuit, okay? An individual as a race car driver out there, you need to take care of your own. Don't just sit there and cry and waiting for the Malaysian government to help you, because it's not their job to help you. The private corporate will play a very important role. If they believe in motorsports, then athletes like us in the motorsport industry, our life would be a lot easier. But because they don't, so therefore most of my sponsors are all international company. So you need to know who you approach, who you write to. A local company will have no reason to support you, because if your races are international, they have no appearance, for instance, in China or in Japan. So why would they need to have an advertisement on your car which is in Japan or in China, where they have no business over there, right? During my time when we were racing, I don't see any coverage on me. Out of 10 races, maybe they only cover me like twice. I don't think the local media is doing enough. They only focus on Formula One. None of our drivers are in Formula One. There's no Malaysian driver right now in there. So who cares about Formula One? Why you even bother go and cover Formula One while all the other international media already cover Formula One? They should actually help out the local boys, give us a bit more mileage. In return, this is where we can go back to our sponsors and say, hey, look, the media is covering us. So if you sponsor us, you also get coverage. To all the young generation who wants to become a race driver, it's not going to be a walk on the park. But it's not impossible. It is possible. Not just me, a lot of any other driver also proven it's possible. If there's a will, there's a way. All you need to do is work hard and work very smart. It's not something that you can do overnight. Putra Park is something that I had in my mind for quite a while now. When I decided to retire, I want to have a home, a motorsport home that I can hang out, that I can go to. In Putra Park, we have a few segments. We have a go-kart segment, and within the go-kart track, we also provide mini GP facility, which is on the bike sector. Basically, for anyone who wants to become a professional rider, you have to start somewhere. So mini GP is a good platform. Then moving on, we have next to the go-kart section, we have a gymkhana and a drift track. So the objective is to take these kids off the street, bring them here at Putra Park, provide them a proper facility, the right way to get into motorsports. From karting to a real car. We have good instructor over here as well, where you can learn to advance your driving, basically. My biggest supporter throughout my entire journey would be definitely my wife. Okay, without her, I don't think I'm able to stay on for so many years. If I were given a chance to start over again, I will avoid all my mistakes, but I will not do anything else. I will continue to do what I love, which is be a race car driver. My name is Zen Low, and that's my story.
Never miss a goal. Watch it on BKA Live TV app right now.